3, 2, 1. You're on.
All right. Hey, this is Ron, KC0QVT, coming to you live from BridgeCom Systems headquarters in Smithville, Missouri. My amateur radio call sign is KC0QVT. And today we got a nice video on tap for you. We're going to do some training on how to update the firmware in your 878, and we're going to then update the contact list in your radio. Now, most of you guys probably know firmware is what makes the radio do what it does. Oftentimes the manufacturer of the radio will provide updates as they improve the functionality of the radio. They fix bugs and things like that. The radio is now at version 1.21, and we're going to go and find out what version of radio this is, and then we're going to update that to the latest version, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the radio's been on the market now for a little while. It's gotten pretty stable in the marketplace. They've worked a lot of issues out with it, and oftentimes they just provide updates to improve the function. And this radio is a good radio. It's probably one of the better ones on the market for the price, I can tell you that. I mean, we were selling a lot of these and people just love them. Secondly, we're going to go through the updating of a contact list, and what that is going to be the information that of all the users on a network tied to their DMR ID, and you can park that in a radio, and I'm going to show you where you can go and get that. And I'm going to show you why that's important. Right now this radio does not have a contact list in it, and it also, I know for a fact, doesn't have the latest firmware. So anyway, I've got everything set up here from the previous session that we did. I've got the $100 Windows 10 tablet computer that we hooked up here a couple videos ago. I've got the same radio. I've got my SkyBridge all set up on the same hotspot frequencies. And one of the things I want to tell you real quick about this SkyBridge, in particular hotspots with ham radio, and it just dawned on me this past week as I was thinking about one of these. I mean, we hear just in travels of talking to so many people, we've been to a lot of ham fest, where one of the primary complaints that folks have about amateur radio that I've heard is that the repeaters they're not active, nobody's on them, or the bands are dead. We often hear about the sunspot cycle, which if you're into HF and doing a lot of DXing. Well, this little device right here fixes all that. The bands are never dead with this, and also this is never dead. There is always somebody on one of these things if you know how to steer it, and it really is a true freedom device for your ham radio, and it gives you a lot of freedom. And I'm going to show you here in a moment where you can go and find out how much interest there is in DMR in particular, and what you can do with these hotspots in terms of making ham radio. It'll blow it up for you. It's an awesome trend that's happening, and it is ham radio. I mean, you're actually using a radio on the amateur radio spectrum and talking through one of these devices, and you can meet people all over the world, which is what we want. I mean, that's why I got into amateur radio. I love to tinker with stuff. I want to talk to folks. This business has been an awesome experience for me so far in meeting people. And that hotspot is a gateway into the rest of the world, and it's right at your fingertips. So let's explore some of that today. Real quick, I'm going to just confirm everything that from last week. I'm going to hit I've got it set up. I'm going to talk to the parrot. So KC0QVT, I'll let you see.
KC0QVT.
Okay, we know we're live. All right. So again, one of the things that you're going to need is a DMR ID. Okay, to do any of this stuff, you got to go to radioid.net. Go get you a DMR ID, and that way that's the start of this journey after you've got your ham radio license. Okay, so the second thing we're going to do is we're going to update the firmware. We're going to update the firmware of the 878. Okay, that's the AnyTone 878 UV In this case, this is a plus version. The plus simply means it's got the Bluetooth functionality in it. Okay, so to see what firmware version is in here, you press the menu button, and then you go down here to where it says Settings, and then you go to Device Info, and then you can see I've got my DMR ID right there. My radio name is KC0QVT, the frequency range, and it says I've got version firmware 1.19, okay? So what you want to do, and I'm going to jump into the computer real quick, and let's go over to the website here. We put the firmware on our website as soon as we get it and vet it, okay? I know that the firmware comes out of the factory, and there's other vendors that just plop it on their website and get right out the gate. We do do that as well, but we may not be the first one out there, but it is out there after we've gone through it just to make sure some things are in good order. So you want to click on the Support tab, and this is going to take you to our website where we have a massive amount of content for you guys to comb through, okay? And so I'm going to scroll down here, and where it says product support, and then we've got AnyTone 878, 878 plus handheld support. Okay, so we're interested in this one, and you can see my cursor there. I'm over the AnyTone plus CPS firmware and driver downloads. So I'm going to click on that. Okay. You'll see right up here at the top, latest CPS version download. Okay, click the link below. So I am going to click this link to download the CPS and the firmware for version 1.21. Okay, so there you can see it's downloading right there. Okay, came in pretty quick. And by the way, I'm on Windows 10, and I'm running a tablet computer that runs Windows 10. So I'm going to open this when done. And what that's going to do is open up a Windows Explorer tab. And you can see in this file that was extracted, you can see a bunch of files that come with the firmware update for the CPS and firmware update. Okay, and then there's a read first. That's the update instructions. I'm going to walk you through that basically in this content. So what we're interested in right now is the CPS. Okay, so I'm going to left double click on that, and I'm going to right click and open this. Okay, so I want to extract this now. Okay, now it's going to want to put this on in my users folder, and we can do that. So I'll go ahead and extract this. And one of the things you want to make sure is that after you extract it, you want to be able to know you can go out and find it. But once we do that, it'll pop up. So I'm going to go and extract it. You can see that it's copying the items and extracting it, because when the factory gives us this, it's all in some kind of zipped up format. Okay, so here's what was extracted. Okay, so I want to click on this folder again, and now I want to execute the install file. So I'm going to run as administrator. Okay, Windows is protecting my PC. I'm going to run it anyway. Okay. I got another thing down here. Okay, so yes, do you want to allow this app? Absolutely. I want to run this app. Okay, English. Click Next. Okay, now it's going to want to put this, okay, I don't have a D drive here, so I am going to put this over on a C drive. And you can put it in your root directory, or you can create another folder. I'm going to go ahead just for the mouse give me, okay. Click Next. Setup will create the program shortcuts. That's fine. I want to put a desktop icon, absolutely, and I want to go ahead and install it. Okay, so now it's extracting those files and it's putting them on the tablet computer. I've never put 121 on this computer, so this is all new. So I want to go ahead and launch it. Okay. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to close that. Okay, you can see up at the top it says version 121. I also, from the previous session, I have version 119 still open, so I'm going to close that. Okay, current state. I don't want to save it. Okay, so now I have version 121 open. Okay, so at this point we have the CPS that we're going to use to update the firmware, and we're still not done. We still have, okay, I'm going to close this. We still have to get the firmware and extract it, okay? So I want to go and get, I got to find where I put that. There's the zip file, okay? Now I want to go in here and look at the files that I extracted on the PC. There's my firmware right there. So I want to, I believe these are extracted. I think if I open this folder, you're going to see these files. There's going to be some files in here. Okay, those are the files we're interested when we're going to update this. Okay, so now how do we update it? All right, I'm going to show you that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you have to put the radio in a firmware update mode. Okay, without doing this, it won't work. Okay, so you do that by turning off the radio, and what you want to do is you want to press and hold the PTT button and this blue button on top at the same time, and you want to turn it on. Okay, and then you release it, and then you're going to see, if you can notice that, you're going to see the red LED on the top of the radio blinking, and that means it's in firmware update mode. Okay, so you want to connect the radio to the computer, and you want to make sure you set the COM right. We're on COM 3. Okay, I knew that from the previous session. Okay, then you want to go to this thing called Tool, and then there's this menu item that says Firmware and ICOM Update. You want to click that. Okay. Now, you want to open the update file. Now, this is why it's important to remember where you put stuff, because you're going to click this Open Update file, and of course, Windows is going to take you to your PC, and it's going to say, well, where'd you put all this stuff? Okay. So we got 121 there. We got, and I just went to the downloads directory. Okay. I got 121 firmware. Okay. So there is the file. It's a .spi file. And without getting into details, that's the firmware, and that's what the extension is. So I'm going to click on that and then open it. Okay, file open, successed. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. We are going to write this. So you'll see this down here. There's a write or an exit. I'm going to go ahead and click write and hope and pray this works. Okay, write to radio, and you can see I'm still blinking. I'm going to click OK. All right, it's working. And this takes a minute or so. And I'm looking at your guys' comments. All right, but it is updating. This is a good sign. It'd be bad if this thing just sat there and did nothing. So yeah, you want to definitely make sure your computer stays alive and all this stuff happens. It looks like we're about 40%. So, but what it's doing is it's rewriting the flash memory inside the flash. I suspect this has got a microprocessor that's got flash memory on board, and it's just rewriting that. So it's talking with the bootloader. So what we're doing again is we're taking the radio to 1.21, and while that's going, we're going to go, I'll just write this 1.1, I'm going from 1.19 to 1.21. This is the latest firmware from the factory. Now, we've not heard any major problems with this firmware. It seems like it's been successful in the marketplace. We've heard people that gone back down to 1.19 for whatever reason. And sometimes folks do that to try to see if something went hayway with their system since they did a firmware update and they can't explain why, so they'll go take it back to where it was working. But that's another topic. Okay, so it says write complete, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exit now. I am going to, looks like I can take this and I can just inspect here, press the menu button. I don't know if Joe can help me out here, but I'll back. Let's see, select. I want to, I go to settings, device info, and there's 1.21. Why don't you show the guys that? Just see if they can. Yeah. Okay, so it took. All right, okay, so we're at 121. All right, now I've got 121 in 1.21 CPS installed on my laptop or my tablet computer, and I got 121 in the radio. So what I want to do now is, because I'm in a new, I've never read the radio in 121, and so I'm going to, because now that we've updated the firmware, we're going to check that box because we did that. So everybody monitoring, you should know how to update your firmware. And again, this applies to any version that this applies to the radio going from any version forward and even backwards. This is how it's done. You've got to review, you press and hold the PTT button and the blue button at the same time and turn it on. It's kind of tricky, but that's how it's done. That's how you put it in boot mode. And again, you see that blinking red light on the top, and that tells you that you're in the firmware update mode. Okay, for whatever reason, the CPS will not allow for me to expand that yellow cursor, so I'm hoping you can follow my pointer here. So what I want to do is I want to read this radio, because it's got all the stuff in there from the previous sessions. So I don't want the digital contact list, I just want other data, okay? Okay, so it's reading from the radio, and it's got everything from the previous session, the SkyBridge functionality, and then talking to the local repeater. Okay, and then of course it goes through the boot up sequence. All right, so now the next thing we want to do, and this is really cool, and I'm going to take you into where you can see this, but we want to update the contact list. Okay. So you're asking, well, what's a contact list? Basically, the contact list is a file that contains everybody that's got a DMR ID that's in this space. And I'm going to show you on radioid.net where you can get this file. And I'm also going to point out some things so that you can kind of see what's happening in the DMR world, and you can really get some neat metrics as to seeing what's the state of things. I mean, how, am I telling you the truth and that this trend is really happening? And you can see what's going on. So if you go to radioid.net, you can pull up some information that is going to give you an idea of what's happening. Okay, so if you go here to the home page, it says today there has been 15 new users signed up, 24 DMR IDs have been assigned. That means 2 new repeaters have been added. The last 7 days, 420 DMR IDs. Now this is worldwide, by the way. So there's 421 new DMR IDs in the last 7 days. In the last 30 days, as of today, 1,721 new DMR IDs have been assigned. These are actual ham radio users jumping on this trend. So you can also see over here, in total, we've issued 108,459 DMR IDs, okay? And that's what RadioID has issued, radioid.net has issued. Now, prior to that, there was DMR Mark issued a bunch of IDs, but in total, the global network, there's 177,087 DMR IDs that are out there. So you can basically assume that's 177,000 hams that have gotten DMR IDs. So this is why it's very important when you consider purchasing a radio, you'll hear statistics thrown around about contact list. How big is the contact list? Well, the 878 supports over 200,000. I'm sorry, it supports 200,000 contacts. So we can put that entire list, which is what we're going to do, we can put that in this radio. Now, so you want to be careful when you buy a radio that it can support this if you want to be able to know what's going on everywhere. Because the list is growing, and it's growing every day, as you can see here. So you can also see 4,813 repeaters are worldwide. Okay, so jumping in here, you want to go over here to where it says database. Okay. Now, database has a field over here that says data dumps and then API. I'm going to show you the data dumps. Okay, now this all looks kind of confusing, but we're only interested in what this one CSV file called user.csv. This is where all the DMR IDs are located. So we want to download this. So if I click on that, it's downloading. Now it's going to, so I want to open this in a folder. I want to show it in the folder so I know where it put it. Okay, so it put it in my downloads. There it is. Okay. All right. So it's, again, this is why you need to know where you put your stuff, because you're going to have to go out and fetch it. Okay. All right. So I know where that's located, and I just downloaded onto my tablet computer the entire database. And I believe this database is updated every day as people come into the family. Okay, now, how often should you update your DMR? How often should you update your radio with this list? I don't know. I guess it's up to you. I wouldn't, I mean, when you go out and get it, once a week, maybe once a month. I don't know if you need to do it every day, but it's available for you. Okay, so we want to go over here to the CPS because we want to bring this contact list into the CPS. All right, so you go up here to where it says Tool, okay, and then you want to click on this Import field. Okay, now this is going to pull up a screen that says a bunch of stuff that I'm not really certain we need to be worried about. But take that with it, okay? So you're going to see a bunch of information here. You got channel, radio ID list, zone, scan. Okay, we're interested in the digital contact list, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, now this is where I need to go find my digital contact list, which is right there. It's user.csv. So I'm going to left double click, and there you can see it's in the field. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and click this button down below that says import. Okay, now this is going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to look like, at least when I tested it the other day, it looks like it's kind of not doing nothing, and then it comes back and I believe it works. So I'm going to go ahead and click import. Okay, and then you see this, what looks like nothing there, which is odd. But I believe once it's imported, you can see the wheel going round and round. It is actually importing it into the CPS on the computer so that this program has access to that CSV file.
Got a question for you while we wait.
All right. I'm gonna, and also, by the way, I see your questions, guys, and I'm going to try to answer them as we go.
What is the difference between user.csv and usernA.csv?
I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know. I need to find that out. I just know the user list is the contact. Now, somebody wrote that it's not compatible. I was told that as well, but yesterday on a Windows 7 machine, I did import that on 1.21, and it looked like it was compatible. It did work, actually. So I'm hoping it's compatible. I don't see the screen.
Oh, you got two more questions.
Oh, I was looking at the list from radio ID is not in the correct format for the AnyTone. Okay, we'll give this a few more moments, but that should be importing the, okay, here it goes. It's doing something, okay. So it does make you think like, oh, nothing's happening. Import complete. You see that, guys? Import complete. I feel better now. All right, so I know that the CPS imported it correctly because it told me so. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to write this into my radio so that I can use that. Now what's going to happen is that when I place calls and I have contacts with somebody who's in the database and I'm current, I will be able to see their contact information on the display of the radio, which is really cool because if you recall last time when I made a QSO and somebody responded to me, I just saw a number on the screen. I saw his DMR ID, and who's that? And well, he identified himself, of course, and that helped out. But the radio will actually give you that intelligence now. So what we're going to do is we're going to program the radio. We're going to write to the radio. Okay, again, okay. So this is key now. You need to click this digital contact list. Okay, because we're going to dump that entire database into the radio. Okay, so I clicked OK. Now this takes a little bit of time because it's a pretty massive file. Now it's writing the CPS that has your channel information and your zone information. Okay. Now this is what takes a little bit of time. This is where it's actually writing that that contact list into the radio, and it takes a few minutes. Craig, you beat your radio up for the last 10 days. Okay, you say it works but is wrong. All right, well, we're going to find out. I mean,
I got a question for you here, Rob.
Okay.
Can I update from any old version to the latest in one step?
What? Okay, I need to know update for the studio.
I think they're talking firmware.
Okay. I believe so. You can whatever firmware version you're on, you can go to the next version. You don't have to incrementally step up to the new version. Okay. Okay, Craig indicates that the formatting is in the wrong format. We're going to see that, and if that's the case, I'll get this fixed up. We'll get the factory to fix it. But this will be news to me, and I'm glad we're doing this so that we can resolve that. But all right. But I hear you, Craig. Thank you for that. But I'm going to make a QSO real quick and just see what happens up on the display. He says that Craig says the city will be the user's last name, no error since it's technically not an error. And we'll show that. But this is the beauty of amateur radio and doing this kind of stuff. We can change the world. But again, like I said, this is a pretty healthy file that's dumping into the radio. Now, and we'll get the powers to be to change all this to make it right. But we're at 54%. But anyway, touching back on the hotspots, I mean, it truly take advantage of this. It really does free up your ham radio. I mean, you guys can talk to anybody all over the world with one of these, and it's been really cool. We've had people make contacts, you know, into Europe from North America, from into Korea. South Korea, that is. We've talked to people in China. The worldwide talk group is pretty active. Texas is always active. Okay, now here it's going to do another update. Completed that. John Denver in Denver, right? Yeah. So this is the lag. I mean, I apologize. This is what it takes. So if you guys do this, you got a massive file you're importing into the radio.
Looks like some people are saying user NA might be North America.
Okay, I think that's right. That's North American users. The user NA is North American. And there's a lot of information there. I mean, if you guys, if you want to throw in the chat what you know about that fieldandradioid.net's website, please by all means do that. I mean, this is a nice community of guys that's helping each other. And also, I might as well plug our if you guys haven't gone into our BridgeCom Systems official group page, join us there. Send in a request for joining that group, because there's a lot of guys on there that can help you. I'm in there oftentimes. I'll chime in. We got Dwayne Reese, N6DMR. He's there always helping. Sebastian, KB0TTL's helping. And a bunch of other guys that are in the community. Scott Beers, he's in there all the time talking to folks. And also, I encourage you to like us on Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel, and subscribe to that. And click the notification bell so that you're alerted to when we do live streams. We're planning on doing live streams every Wednesday at 11 a.m. where we can work on additional topics that you guys come up with, and take go on this journey again. But this is cool. This is good that we're doing this, because this is what you have to do in order to get your radio aware of the entire network that's available to you guys. So can you keep that screen up? When downloading the user.csv, make sure you don't open inadvertently in Excel or equivalent. It will change the formatting to where it ... Okay, I know it didn't open up in Excel. But it's going. We're at 35%, 36%, so it's creeping along.
I got a question here from David. Does updating the firmware on radio change any settings that was already set in the radio?
Okay, the question was, does updating the firmware change any settings that were in the radio prior to the update? To the best of my knowledge, no, it does not. It maintains everything that's in the CPS, or that you created in your CPS file. So I think it should maintain all of your previous settings. Now, you also want to pay attention to the file that is, there is a list of features that have been resolved or improvements. So pay attention to that too, because it might be applicable to what you're doing. Like some people have had issues with a specific feature, and you want to check to see that if that was resolved with the latest firmware. For the longest time, the firmware was being updated pretty regularly, so it was difficult to stay on top of things, so the releases were happening pretty regularly. The releases now have kind of died down because they've resolved a lot of these issues, but they still are enhancing the product and making it better. So we have time to catch our breath, as it were, on these newer releases. So the 121's been out for quite a while now, and it's been in the marketplace. The radios that we're getting from the factory, I do believe our current stock, I mean, like this one here I pulled out of stock, it had 1.19, but it takes a while for us to get these radios, and then of course they're not updated with the latest firmware, but they do work. We don't go through all the radios and update them prior to ship. That's something you guys can do, because it's changing so fast, and it's like I showed you, it's not a difficult process to do. So keep that in mind as you get your radio, just to confirm what radio version you've got, and if you want to do the update yourself. Yeah, you guys are wanting the CPS to work for Linux. That's out of our control. We can clamor on the factory to do that. I wish I could do it. I mean, I'm a firmware engineer myself, and I love the fact that I can quickly change things like, for example, the repeaters we make and the mobiles that we sell. I can change stuff right here, but unfortunately we're dealing with a vendor that's, you know, not available and easily accessible like that. So all we can do is ask. So let's see. Can CPS run under wine crossover? I don't even know what wine crossover is. So I think that's WinE, but I don't know. With 75%.
I got a question for you.
Okay, another question?
On the SkyBridge, can you do DMR and Fusion at the same time?
You can set the SkyBridge to work on DMR and Fusion, and it will be, you can turn on those modes, okay, but you can only use one mode at a time, okay. So you could talk into it through DMR, let it go, release the SkyBridge, and then hit it with a Fusion radio or a D-Star radio. But yes, you can have all these modes turned on at the same time, but only one of them is going to use the channel in its specific mode, so you can't have a big mess there. Now, when you talk into the hotspot with that particular mode, it's going to give you the channel for a specific period of time. So if you talk into it with D-Star, for example, you can't just come in with a DMR radio right away. It's going to have D-Star basically having control of it, and then it'll eventually release. And those are programmable settings, I believe. So it's really a function of how you want to set it up and how long you want to allow for the hotspot to have control of that particular mode. Okay, we're at 95%, 96, so we're almost done here. Crossover is a commercial version of one. Okay, thanks, Stephen. All right, 100% complete. Let's see what happens. The write data completed. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to click that. It says copying data to the radio. Please wait. So booting. Still booting. All right. Now, I should have my contact list. Now the formatting, that is a question that we're going to find out. So I'm going to go ahead and just confirm that everything works by hitting the parrot. KC0QVT.
KC0QVT.
All right. So I know that works. Real quick, the optional settings, I want to show you guys something in the CPS real quick that you guys asked about on these alert tones. To get that repeater, or I'm sorry, hotspot access tone, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the board here so you guys know what those tones are. But that's in the call tone, okay? And that sequence of tones is 1050 hertz, 1040, 1050, and 1310. And the time is 40 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds. Okay. So put that in your call tone if you want to hear a nice talk permit tone. You can hear that, and it really helps out when you're trying to figure out, did I hit the hotspot or did I hit the repeater? Because there is a handshake taking place with the RF endpoint, so you can hear that. You hear that? I mean, that's that nice sound, and that's made by putting that in there, okay? And it gives you that, oh, I got the channel. So just, you know, it's something I like in my radio because it helps me know what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm still on the parrot, or I'm in my SkyBridge zone, and so now I'm going to I'm going to try Texas again, because hopefully somebody will answer me and I'll be able to see their credential. Well, somebody's on the other.
7 Romeo on Texas statewide. Truck Group 3148. Good morning.
Okay, I got NH5R, a guy named Tommy. So I can go to, let's see. Well, I saw all of his credentials coming on. I'm going to respond to him. What did he say? NH7R. This is KC0QVT monitoring Texas statewide. NH7R, a copy. I'm going to see. Hey, Joe, can you maybe? I don't know if he.
Hey, QVT, Ron, I think I saw a miracle. I got that right. Hotel 7 Romeo. Tony. Yeah, good morning. Well, it's still morning. We got a little bit more here in Texas. Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, that is the information of, like I now know who I'm talking to, NH7R, because it took the DMR ID and now translated it to that lookup table. Hey, nice to meet you, Tommy. I take it that's your name. This is Ron. I'm KC0QVT. I'm in Smithville, Missouri. Yeah, good morning. It's a beautiful morning in Missouri, probably in the mid-60s. We're getting a nice warm spell come in, probably the last of it before it gets too cold. How's it going down in Texas? Where are you located?
Oh, real good. Real good. Really nice down here. It was nice yesterday, nice today. Unfortunately, I'm doing some yard work today. Have to do it. I'm not doing it yet, but wanted to let things dry out here. And just on the radio here a bit, and I give it on Texas statewide. You know, sometimes it's really busy, and sometimes you can't find any life at all. So there's plenty of room to grow, I think. But I'm in Georgetown, Texas, actually Sun City, Texas. Which
and that's coming up on the display.
But Sun City is a 55+ hill web development. We've got almost 10,000 homes here, so it's pretty good size. And I'm just north of the Georgetown Airport. I mean, not northwest. I'll get my directions right. And actually, Alan and I moved here last year after about 12 years in Hawaii. And the reason we moved was because in 2018 we had some lava flows which made the news everywhere, and we were getting about 200 to 300 earthquakes a day, and most of them were around the 2.0, 3.0 range, but we had a handful that were up in the 6.5, 6.9 range. So XYL and I looked at each other when that was happening, and we said, you know what, we're moving back to the mainland island. So here we are in Texas, NH7R.
I could see all of his credentials on the radio. I could see who I was talking to, where he's from, and all that. It's really cool. So yeah, I've never met this guy, but it's awesome to have a QSO with him. He told me what his QTH was and where he's at, and a little bit more about him. Well, hey, listen, man, that's awesome. You guys moved back from Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. Maybe I'll get out there one day, but I hear it's really nice. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't like to be waking up to earthquakes all the time. And I don't know, you know, we're worried about tornadoes sometimes, but the weather here in Missouri is one day it could be 80 degrees, and then the next day you're shoveling your driveway for snow. So anyway, listen, I'm going to let you go, my friend. It is a pleasure to meet you. This is KC0QVT Clear. So, anyway, that's that. Let's see.
Okay, Ron. Good to meet you, and you all have a good day there. November Hotel 7 Romeo.
Okay. Totally, you know, on the fly here. I made a new friend, the hotspot, the radio. He's in that list of calls. His DMR ID was in there, pulled up his information. I mean, this is the journey. So you got to go to radioid.net, get your DMR ID. We updated the firmware and we updated the contact list. And then as a bonus, I told you what those tones were so that you guys can plug those in, get a nice talk permit tone, say, hey, I got the channel, because that tone sequence won't emit if you don't get the channel. So that kind of helps you get some feedback to know that you either got the repeater or the hotspot, and you've exchanged, you know, the underlying information that takes place in order to handle a call. So anyway, I will take Craig. There's a guy named Craig here, folks, that is commenting, and we need to inspect the contact information. I don't know about that. I got to look into that. So anyway, I appreciate your feedback, Craig, about the formatting, and I'll run that up the flagpole and see if we can see what's going on. I mean, my email, you can email somebody here in the shop what's going on, and we can take a look at that. But anyway, if you guys, I'll answer any questions at this point about what I've done, and if I can help you further, you know, I'd love to. We've got the hotspot here, we got the radio, we did the CPS. You know, took a little bit of time to get the contact list into the radio, but again, you can see it's got the entire database in the radio.
I got a question for you, Ron.
All right.
Does the new firmware alert for weather tones?
Reed, okay, the question was, does the new firmware alert for weather tone? I don't know. I don't think it does. I don't believe it has that functionality in it, but you can put all the weather frequencies in the radio. Okay. And Reed's coming in on Facebook. Okay. So I will come up with another topic for the next week's live stream, and we're going to continue to deep dive on this radio. But we've done a lot of neat things. I mean, you should be able to, with what you've got here, have all your contacts in the radio now. You should have the ability to talk on a hotspot. You now know how to talk on a local repeater, and you know how to find a local repeater. You kind of know what to look for as far as color codes. You can set up yourself. You can look into the Brandmeister network and see what's happening and see how your performance is on the network. And we can go into that a little bit more maybe next week as far as like how the hotspot's doing on the network, so that you can be found if you want to. But again, this opens up the entire world to you. There's 174,000 people on this. It's growing every day, as you can see. So, you know, I just want to encourage you. You know, it's a neat thing, a ham radio. It's a happening deal. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I think we're good here, guys. And we're here for you if you need some help. We've got the Facebook group to help support you guys. We also have the YouTube channel. You guys look like you're being, you know, helpful on the chat, and that's a good one. So with all that being said, 7-3, folks.